In the quiet halls of the high school, Yuzu was the ghost of a model student, humble, polite, and invisible. His life was a steady stream of perfect grades until the doors creaked open for Shock Chan, a national boxing champion with eyes like a predator. While the class cheered for the new star, Yuzu's blood turned to ice. He wasn't looking at a celebrity, he was looking at a demon from a past he had tried to bury. Shock Chan didn't wait for an introduction to establish his reign, instantly brutalizing the class troublemaker before turning his gaze toward Yuzu with a sickeningly familiar smile. When Yuzu's trembling hands reached out to beg for mercy for a classmate, Shock Chan's face twisted with rage, accusing Yuzu of forgetting the lessons of middle school. As Yuzu collapsed under a barrage of blows, his fingers brushed against a sharp metal pen on the floor, and for the first time in his life, the instinct to survive overrode the fear of the consequences. The flash of silver was followed by a scream that silenced the entire school, leaving Shock Chan clutching a ruined eye and Yuzu staring at his blood-stained hands. The law didn't see a victim defending himself. It saw a student who brought a weapon to a fistfight, and the judge's gavel fell with a finality that shattered Yuzu's future. On the prison bus, Yuzu found himself seated next to a man who radiated a quiet, terrifying power. Do-Hyun, the youngest MMA world champion, a man jailed for killing 3 armed robbers with his bare hands in an act of excessive self-defense. In the yard, where fists decide your rank and the weak are mere prey for the 3 predatory gangs, Yuzu was a marked man. Just as the prison's most sadistic leaders cornered him in a blind spot to settle a debt of blood, Yuzu looked toward the silent MMA champion and realized that in this hell, being a good student would only get him killed. Do-Hyun saw the flicker of a fighter in Yuzu's desperate eyes and set a challenge: run 100 laps in 40 minutes or die a victim. Yuzu ran until his lungs burned like ash and his legs gave way, vomiting from exhaustion but refusing to stay down, fueled by the memory of Shock Chan's mocking laughter. Impressed, the Uber-Mench began a brutal transformation, turning Yuzu's fragile frame into a weapon of precision and power through months of grueling resistance training and sparring. But as Yuzu's strength grew, the shadows outside the prison walls were lengthening. Shock Chan, now a one-eyed enforcer for a powerful syndicate, was waiting for the day the prison gates would swing open. Just as Yuzu finally earned his place as the top dog of the yard by defeating the prison's fiercest bullies, a letter arrived at the warden's office that changed everything. The day of release was not a celebration, but the start of a war. Shock Chan met Yuzu at the gate with a bowl of tofu and a promise of eternal suffering, but he didn't realize that the boy he once broke had been rebuilt by a world champion. Their final street fight was a collision of raw hatred and refined technique, only ending when Yuzu delivered a devastating kick that left the bully broken in the dirt. However, Shock Chan was just a pawn. The real monster was Woo Yong, a billionaire underground fight promoter who kidnapped Yuzu's friends to force him into a life of digital gladiatorial combat. Standing in a construction site surrounded by hundreds of armed guards, Yuzu watched as his best friend, Wonjun, took a blade meant for him. As the life faded from Wonjun's eyes and Woo Yong's laughter echoed through the rafters, Yuzu realized that being the most feared fighter wasn't about winning a trophy, it was about how many bodies he would have to step over to get justice. If you want to see Yuzu's final high-stakes revenge against Woo Yong and the ultimate tribute to Wonjun, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a Team Yuzu in the comments if you think he should have finished Woo Yong off. And don't forget to like and share this video to help us bring you the next chapter of this legend. The transition from the cold concrete of the prison yard to the neon-lit world of professional fighting was not the escape Yuzu had imagined. Though Woo Yong was behind bars, the syndicate he built left behind a power vacuum that turned the city's underground into a hunting ground. Yuzu spent his days in the gym, his every punch echoing the heartbeat of a man who had lost his best friend. But the scars on his soul were deeper than the scars on his knuckles. He wasn't just training to be a boxer, he was training to stay human in a world that only valued him as a weapon. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Wanjun's notebook, the list of names, and the heavy burden of a debt that could never truly be repaid in full. The news of the World Rookie Championship spread through the gym like wildfire, offering a path to legitimacy and a way to honor Wanjun's dream of a better life. Yuzu, Sunyoung, and Songhyab formed an unbreakable trio, their bond forged in the fires of the penitentiary and tempered by the grief of the funeral. They were the ex-con team, a group the media loved to hate and the fans couldn't stop watching. But as the tournament bracket was announced, a name appeared that made Yuzu's blood run cold: the Phantom. Rumors whispered that this mystery fighter was the product of the same dark underground circuit Wu Yang had run, a man who fought not for points, but for the sound of breaking bones. As the first round of the championship began, Yuzu stepped into the ring under the bright lights, a far cry from the dim shadows of the prison workshop. His first opponent was a seasoned brawler who mocked Yuzu's past, calling him a jailbird who got lucky. Yuzu didn't respond with words. He responded with a speed that left the crowd breathless, his movements a perfect mirror of the shark philosophy Do-hyun had taught him. He moved with a relentless fluidity, never stopping, never sinking, until a single clinical hook ended the match in the second round. But as he raised his hand in victory, he looked into the VIP section and saw a face that shouldn't have been there, a man wearing the signature ring of Wu Yang's inner circle. The conspiracy ran deeper than a single arrest, and the championship was being rigged from the inside to ensure the Phantom would take the crown. Songhyab was the first to realize the danger when he was ambushed in the locker room by men wielding lead pipes, desperate to knock the team out of the tournament before the semifinals. Even with his judo mastery, Songhyab was overwhelmed by the sheer number of attackers, leaving him with a shattered shoulder and a warning: withdraw or the girl is next. Yuzu arrived to find his friend crumpled on the floor, the realization hitting him like a physical blow. The prison walls hadn't protected him from the world. They had only been training for a war that was just beginning. With Songhyab in the hospital and Jihi under 24-hour guard by a paranoid Sanyang, Yuzu had to face the semifinals alone. His opponent was a giant of a man, a heavy hitter who had been paid to ensure Yuzu didn't make it to the final round. Every punch Yuzu took felt like Wanjun's death all over again, a reminder of his own perceived weakness. The giant pinned him against the ropes, the referee conveniently looking away as illegal elbows moved toward Yuzu's temple. In that moment of blinding pain, Yuzu heard a voice from the back of the arena, a sharp, authoritative shout that cut through the roar of the crowd. It was Do-hyun, released early on parole, standing in the shadows of the tunnel with his arms crossed. The presence of his mentor ignited a fire in Yuzu that turned his defense into a devastating offense. He stopped retreating and began to weave through the giant's guard with the precision of a surgeon, landing body shots that sounded like leather hitting a bass drum. When the final bell rang and the giant hit the canvas, the arena fell silent. The underdog had survived the execution. But the victory was short-lived. As Yuzu walked back to the locker room, he found a note pinned to his gear, written in a handwriting he recognized all too well from the legal documents of Wu Yang's trial. It contained only 5 words: "I am coming for you." The final match was set: Yuzu versus the Phantom. The night before the fight, Do-hyun took Yuzu to a quiet hilltop overlooking the city, away from the cameras and the hype. He told Yuzu that a fighter's greatest enemy isn't the man across the ring, but the ghost of who he used to be. Yuzu confessed that he still felt like the scared nerd in the back of the classroom waiting for the next blow to fall. Do-hyun gripped his shoulder, his voice low and steady. "The nerd died the day you picked up that pen, and the victim died the day you saved Wu Yang's life. Tomorrow you fight for the man you chose to become." The night of the finals, the atmosphere was electric with a sense of impending doom. The Phantom entered the ring masked, a silent specter of the underground, and the moment the bell rang, Yuzu realized he wasn't fighting a human, he was fighting a machine. The Phantom's style was a chaotic mix of every illegal move Yuzu had seen on the fog streams, designed to maim rather than score. By the third round, Yuzu's vision was blurring, his ribs cracked and his breath coming in ragged gasps. The crowd began to jeer, sensing the end of the ex-con fairy tale, as the Phantom leaned in and whispered the name of Yuzu's mother, threatening to finish what Shok-chan had started. Rage is a powerful fuel, but it's a dangerous one. Yuzu began to swing wildly, losing the form Do-hyun had spent months perfecting. He was playing right into the Phantom's hands, walking into counters that shook his very brain. In the corner, Do-hyun didn't shout instructions. He simply held up Wonjun's notebook, the word forgiven visible on the open page. Yuzu froze, his heart rate slowing as the anger transformed into a cold, crystalline focus. He wasn't fighting for revenge anymore. He was fighting to honor the forgiveness Wonjun had given him. He stepped back, took a deep breath, and waited for the mask to slip. The final round was a masterpiece of tactical brilliance. Yuzu stopped being the hunter and became the shadow, letting the Phantom exhaust himself with high-intensity strikes that found only air. With 10 seconds left on the clock, Yuzu saw the opening he had been waiting for, a slight hitch in the Phantom's breathing, a legacy of a hidden injury from the underground. He lunged forward, not with a punch, but with a combination so fast that the cameras could barely track it. The Phantom's mask cracked under the pressure of a perfect straight right, revealing the face of the man who had truly orchestrated Wonjun's murder. As the referee counted to 10, Yuzu didn't celebrate. He looked at the VIP box and saw the police moving in to arrest the remaining syndicate members. The journey from the classroom to the world stage is complete, but the fight for justice never truly ends. If you want to see the exclusive footage of Yuzu's first title defense and the secret training sessions with Do-hyun, you need to subscribe and turn on notifications right now. What was your favorite moment, the prison brawl or the final knockout? Let us know in the comments below and share this story with someone who needs to know that underdogs always bite back.